Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is William Armeline, and I'm the director of the San Jose State University Human Rights Institute. And on behalf of SJSU, the incredible faculty and staff of the Human Rights Working Group, and our amazing students in the Human Rights Minor program, I'd like to welcome you to the second event of the 2021 Human Rights Lecture Series, a teach-in panel from three of the sharpest feminist scholars in the country, Drs. Bettina Aptheker, Neferti Tadiar, Barbara Ransby, on Black feminism, socialism, and the work of Dr. Angela Davis. In addition, please join us this Thursday, February 11th, for the 2021 Human Rights Keynote Lecture from the one and only Dr. Angela Davis herself, again on February 11th, where she will speak to the relevance of these theoretical traditions in addressing the human rights struggles of our day. We'll throw that link in the chat for anyone that still needs to sign up. Before we begin, let me quickly thank our generous campus co-sponsors for supporting this year's series: the Mosaic Cross-Cultural Center, the Cesar Chavez Community Action Center, the Ethnic Studies Collaborative, the College of Social Sciences, the Departments of African American Studies, Sociology, Justice Studies, Political Science, Journalism and Mass Communications, and History, and community co-sponsors Silicon Valley Debug. We are delighted to offer this free series to our people in the Bay Area, across the country, and around the world to kick off Black History Month in a promotional drive as a new research and policy institute. Please take a few minutes to check out our website to learn more about our team, our students, and our work. You'll see that link in the chat and in the slide as well. For instance, we're working with California Assembly and Senate members now on the California CLEAR Act, the first bill in the nation meant to address the infiltration of law enforcement agencies by white nationalists and other extremist organizations in the country, following the Capitol riots on January 6th. In addition, we're working as part of the abolitionist Care First, Jail Last coalition to replace jails with non-carceral alternative approaches in Santa Clara County, in close partnership with those in Los Angeles and other major metros. If you'd like to see more free programming like this month's series, or if you would like to support the impactful work of our faculty and students, please consider making a donation to the SJSU HRI today. We have that link in the chat and on the slide as well. It's support from people like you that give us the resources and independence to take on such critical social problems and accompany our community partners in struggle. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce your co-host for the evening, SJSU HRI Journalism Coordinator, Halima Kazam Stoyanovich.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you to everyone who's joining us today. Turnout for our Human Rights Institute launch events have been incredible. Before I introduce our panelists, I have a quick housekeeping item. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the event. To submit a question, click on the Q&A function on the bottom of your toolbar. Please keep questions and comments appropriate, and we will get to them after our panelists present. We're all pretty excited about this event. As Bill said, this is the second of 3 events, and we hope you will carry what our amazing scholars say here today with you to Thursday's event with Dr. Davis herself. Today we have 3 scholars who know Dr. Davis and know the breadth of her work. They will each talk about the importance and influence of Dr. Davis's work beyond and since her trial. Our panelists will explore various themes in Dr. Davis's activism and books and relate those themes to their own scholarly work. I'm honored to have Dr. Bettina Aptheker, a distinguished professor emerita in feminist studies from the University of California, Santa Cruz, here today. Also with us is Dr. Neferti Tadiar, who's the professor of women's, gender, and sexuality studies at Barnard College, Columbia University. And we have Dr. Barbara Ransby. Dr. Ransby is the John D. MacArthur Chair and distinguished professor in the Departments of African American Studies, Gender and Women's Studies, and History at the University of Illinois at Chicago. I will introduce each of them right before they speak. We will start with Dr. Bettina Aptheker, who is a distinguished professor emerita in feminist studies from the University of California, Santa Cruz. An activist scholar, she taught for nearly 40 years, a range of courses that included her popular Introduction to Feminisms, African American Feminist History, Feminist Oral History, and Memoir, Queer Feminist History, and Queer Feminist History. Dr. Aptheker's graduate seminars included Feminist Pedagogies and Black Feminist Reconstruction. She also did an online course on the Coursera platform called Feminism and Social Justice, which launched in March 2019 and is still available. As of today, 61,000 people across the globe have taken it. Dr. Aptheker was also part of the UC Berkeley free speech movement in the 1960s and part of many civil rights and women's rights protests. She was on the defense team of Angela Davis during her trial and authored the book, The Morning Breaks, The Trial of Angela Davis. She is also the author of several books, including Women's Legacy, essays on race, sex, and class in American history, Tapestries of Life, Women's Work, Women's Consciousness, and the Meaning of Daily Experience. She is currently writing a book called Communists in Closets, Queering the History 1930s to 1990s. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Bettina Aptheker. Dr. Aptheker?
Thank you so much, Halima. Thank you, Bill. Thank everyone for this wonderful occasion and for having me back with the Human Rights Institute, where I was last Monday. I hope everyone is doing very well. And I want to say what a pleasure it is for me today to be part of this panel, and especially to thank my colleagues, Neferti, Tadiar, and Barbara Ransby, for taking the time and the energy to join us today. I really look forward to their talks and presentation, and then to the Q&A that will follow in our discussion. I'm going to talk today about Angela Davis and the beginning of Black feminist history. I think it's something that, especially if you are a younger person, a different generation, you may not have all the information about, and I thought it would be really, really helpful. And it's so relevant to what's happening today. Incarcerated in the Marin County Jail in solitary confinement and awaiting trial on 3 capital offenses, as most of you know, with the prosecution asking for the death penalty, Angela, in the film we saw last week, recounted her effort to focus her mind on reading and writing and making something of a schedule for herself. She consciously modeled herself after the many political prisoners she had read about who used this time in prison to write and to study. After an arduous court battle, we had to fight for everything, but after an arduous court battle, our lawyers finally procured her a typewriter and paper. It was during this period between December 1970 and her eventual release on bail in February 1972 that she wrote some of the most important work that helped to inaugurate a whole new field of study that we now call Black Feminism and Black Feminist History. In her scholarly work, Angela put her attention on Black women. And I think part of this has to do with her history personally growing up in Birmingham and the remarkable role that her mother, Mrs. Sally B. Davis, played in that community. But in placing her attention on Black women and at the center of her thinking, she upturned a traditionally sexist, misogynist, and racist history. When she requested books, we would get them for her and give them to our lawyers who did their best to get them into her. But even so, she was extremely limited in the resources she had available to her. And please remember, in this time period, there were no computers, there was no internet, and there were no cell phones. We laugh, too, because sometimes guards raised an eyebrow with book titles like Slave Revolts and Women in Revolution, but the books still made it in. The first major result of Angela's in-jail scholarly work was an essay called The Black Woman's Role in the Community of Slaves, published in the Black Scholar in December 1971. It is a profoundly Marxist analysis that provides insight into enslaved women's labors and the significance of them, and it revolutionized historical understandings of slavery. Angela Davis lifted Black women from their historical obscurity, where they had been subsumed under the category of race alone, and gave to them self-definition and self-determination. Her essay had 3 essential and original arguments. These had not been made before. First, Davis challenged the stereotypical images of the Black woman as matriarch, calling it a cruel misnomer. The context for this was a presidential commission on the Black family in America, often referred to as the Moynihan Report. And when you read it today, sometimes it's really hard to believe that somebody actually wrote something like that. But the report was commissioned by President Lyndon Baines Johnson. It was published in 1965, at the height of the civil rights movement, and it basically said that Black women dominated family life, emasculated Black men, were matriarchs, and were therefore responsible for the deformities, what he called the deformities of the Black family. The report argued that until the Black community put its own house in order, quoting again, aligned with the white patriarchal nuclear family unit characteristic of white middle-class families, poverty, crime, and delinquency would continue. Rather than continue to pour money into the communities in the form of various programs to relieve poverty, Moynihan report argued the government should pursue a policy of what it called benign neglect. Moynihan suggested, however regretfully, that the plight of the Black family was rooted in slavery, but maintained that it was unnatural and created what he called, quote, a tangle of pathology. It is important to note the timing of the Moynihan report, which was first of all only 5 years before Angela was incarcerated, and also how much damage it did to the self-determination of the Black community by denigrating and dismissing the enormity of Black women's political, cultural, and family labors, including particularly in the civil rights and voting rights movements, which were at their height when the report was released. So it was a very political moment. Angela wrote in her essay, quote, lingering beneath the notion of a Black matriarch as an unspoken indictment of our female forebears, as having actively assented to slavery, the notorious cliche, the emasculating female, has its roots in the fallacious inference that in playing a central part in the slave family, the Black woman related to the slaveholding class as collaborator. Nothing could be further from the truth. Second, Angela developed an analysis of the systematic legalized rape of enslaved Black women. She pointed out that the laws governing slavery enforced the matrilineal line of descent on the enslaved family, so that the woman's children assumed her status as an enslaved person, thus legally sanctioning the right of slave owners to both sexually assault her and to sell her children with impunity. Many scholars have pursued the study of these atrocities since Angela first articulated them and amplified the voices of enslaved women. Angela called rape a special weapon of terror directed against women and female enslaved children, while at the same time being used as a weapon to weaken the slave community as a whole. No one, up until this time, in 1970-71, had recognized the enslaved, first of all, as forming a community, and second, as sustaining family, and no one had ever written something called A Politics of Rape. Third, in the revolutionary essay, Angela focused on the affirmative, life-giving work of Black women in the slave communities. She documented their participation in slave rebellions. She affirmed the importance of their labors within the slave community and the dailiness of survival as a revolutionary act in itself. She wrote, quote, in the infinite anguish of ministering to the needs of the men and children around her, who were not necessarily members of her immediate family, she was performing the only labor of the slave community, which could not be immediately and directly claimed by the oppressor. Precisely through performing the drudgery, which has long been a central expression of the socially conditioned inferiority of women, the Black woman in chains could help to lay the foundation for some degree of autonomy, both for herself and her men. She was essential to the survival of the community. Not all people have survived enslavement. Hence, her survival-oriented activities were themselves, Angela wrote, a form of resistance. This was written 50 years ago, 50 years, and one is struck again by the prescience of Angela's words and their currency in this moment of Black Lives Matter. Initiated by Black women, that movement has lifted the whole country out of Trump's madness and swept the globe and begun an extraordinary reckoning among tens of thousands of white people. It has also brought a reckoning in white-controlled institutions, from museums to monuments, to education and symphony orchestras and opera companies, to police, to the criminal justice system and mass incarceration, even in the face of a white supremacist mob that brought the Confederate flag into the halls of Congress and sought to incite insurrection once again. I do want to say that Angela's essay on Black women's role in the community of slaves, first published, as I said, in the Black Scholar in 1971, inspired scores of Black writers, novelists, playwrights, artists. I was thinking, for example, when I was writing this, I was thinking about the amazing work by the artist Betty Saar liberating Aunt Jemima. So I have more details, but in the interest of time, I'm skipping over them. But just to say, it had an enormous impact. Angela is best known as a revolutionary icon and a partisan of people's liberation struggles. But this prison essay demonstrated she is also a prolific and meticulous scholar who has published 9 books and numerous scholarly essays. Black women are so often at the center of how she is thinking about issues, history, and culture. Among those books is one called Blues, Legacies, and Black Feminism, Gertrude Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, and Billie Holiday. It was published in 1998, almost 20 years after the community of slaves. What is original and revolutionary about Angela's work on the blues is that she studied and then reproduced all of the lyrics that were the original songs by Rainey and Smith, and through this suggested a way to think about Black feminist consciousness, but now in the context of freedom. The blues songs speak to the dailiness, she said, of Black women's lives, especially working class and urban women, and also Southern sharecropping women in the early half of the 20th century. They are songs about love, sexuality, Black masculinity, loss, work, hardship, floods, poverty, calamity, and then again back to love. As Angela put it, quote, "What is distinctive about the blues, particularly in relation to other American popular musical forms in the 20s and 30s, is their intellectual independence and representational freedom. One of the most obvious ways in which blues lyrics deviated from that era's established popular musical culture was the provocative and pervasive sexual, including homosexual imagery. For the first time in the history of the African presence in North America, masses of Black women and men were in a position to make autonomous decisions regarding the sexual partnership into which they entered. Sexuality was thus one of the most tangible domains in which emancipation was acted upon," close quote. Angela continued, quote, "Naming issues that pose a threat to the physical and psychological well-being of the individual is a central function of the blues. Indeed, the musical genre is called the blues not only because it employs a musical scale of blue notes, but also because it names in myriad ways the social and psychic afflictions and aspirations of African Americans," close quote. In writing about Billie Holiday, who came a little after Rainey and Smith, Angela discusses her signature song. It was called Strange Fruit. Many of you have heard it. It became the anthem of the anti-lynching movement in that time period. Written by a white Jewish communist whose name was Abe Mirpool, his stage name was Lewis Allen, Billie Holiday made it her own. She first sang it on April 30th, 1939. It took great courage to sing it, and as a result, she became the subject of FBI investigations and white supremacist venom. But as she sang it, almost moaning it at times, and then burnishing it with a fierce irony and relentless fury, it became a protest song of her times. It still resonates for us in the wake of the police murders of Black children, women, and men, in these times of the Black Lives Matter movement, although the method of lynching now seems to be preferred shooting unarmed victims or asphyxiating them. But it is important to call those police murders lynchings because of the history and tradition of what's gone on in this country. This is only a small sampling of the range and depth of Angela Davis's intellectual and scholarly contributions. I think about her more current books on the meaning of freedom, an essay book on Frederick Douglass, a book on prison abolition, her book on prison abolition and democracy. I mean, her outpouring is amazing. But these are some of the intellectual and scholarly contributions to the history, politics, and cultural contributions of Black women, providing some of the foundations for Black feminism. Her work has been enormously personally important to me. I've used it in my teaching, writing, thinking for generations, for a long time, and done my best to exercise a white supremacist, an anti-racist consciousness in order to counter white supremacy. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share these thoughts, and I look forward to hearing from my colleagues and to the discussion that follows. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aptheker. We also shared in the chat while you were talking about links to the essay Reflections on the Black Woman's Role in the Community of Slaves. Thank you for that. Up next is Dr. Neferti Tadiar, who's the Professor of Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies at Barnard College, Columbia University. She is the author of 2 books, Things Fall Away, Philippine Historical Experience, and the Makings of Globalization and Fantasy Production, Sexual Economies and Other Philippine Consequences for the New World Order, which was awarded the Philippine National Book Award in Cultural Criticism for 2005. She is also co-editor of Beyond the Frame, Women of Color and Visual Representation with Angela Davis. Professor Tadiar's work examines the role of cultural practice and social imagination in the production of wealth, power, marginality, and liberatory movements in the context of global relations. Her research focuses on contemporary Philippine and Filipino cultures and their relation to political and economic change, while addressing broader issues of gender, race, and sexuality in the discourses and material practices of nationalism, transnationalism, and globalization. Professor Tadiar's forthcoming book is Remaindered Life by Duke University Press, a meditation on the disposability and surplus of life-making under contemporary conditions of the global empire of capital. She is a member of the Social Text Collective and co-founder and director of a small independent library and cultural space in San Fernando, La Union, Philippines. Dr. Tadiar?
Yes, hello. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Bettina Aptheker and William Armeline and the Human Rights Institute at San Jose State University for the invitation to participate on this panel. I'm very pleased to be here with you all and very honored to be in this conversation with Barbara Ransby and Bettina Aptheker. We were asked to offer our reflections on the relevance of Black feminism, police, prison abolition, revolutionary praxis, and the work of Angela Davis in current political contexts. So please forgive my breaking with formalities by referring to Angela Davis by her first name. Like Barbara and Bettina, I know Angela as a dear friend as well as a colleague and political mentor. And for the last 25 years, I have learned so much from her friendship as well as from her work as a scholar, public intellectual, and political activist. Today, I want to talk about her work in relationship to urgent contemporary issues in the Philippines as a way of thinking about transnational solidarity. I want to talk particularly about the ongoing brutal violence exercised by the police state under Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs, which since its declared launch at the start of Duterte's presidency in July 2016, or in 4.5 years, has resulted in the extrajudicial police killings of nearly 30,000 people. I want to speak about the importance of Black feminism in Angela Davis's own theory and practice as the frame of prison abolition and the critique of racial capitalism and imperialism, to how we here in the US might understand and relate to what would appear to be this distant elsewhere in which the police execution of largely poor young men in urban slums, up to 1,000 extrajudicial killings a month, has become part of the brutal normal order. The prison, as Angela has powerfully argued for many decades, is an apparatus involved in far greater ranging systems of social relations than the criminal justice system, the system of law and order, which continues to frame the dominant understanding of prisons as, quote, a place of punishment for those who have committed crimes. This ideological framework of the relation between crime and punishment has shaped not only the history of the prison's establishment as a racist capitalist institution, enforcing a constitutionally sanctioned form of punishment that derives from a seemingly past moment of slavery and colonialism. This framework also undergirds its current rapid expansion, not only in the US, but also globally as a productive capitalist industry. The prison operates on many levels. As she says, quote, "The site of the jail or prison is not only material and objective, but it's ideological and psychic as well. It is an institution for disappearing and incapacitating those deemed the detritus of society, those who are struggling to live lives under conditions of violence shaped by race, class, and gender, targeted as members of populations that capitalism produces as disposable." As she points out, quote, "Our criminal justice system sends increasing numbers of people to prison by first robbing them of housing, healthcare, education, and welfare, and then punishing them when they participate in underground economies," close quote. In this way, the prison is an apparatus for disavowing the intrinsic violence of capitalist society. It ideologically and materially disappears the problems that racial capitalism has produced, or tries to. In doing so, and as a negative affirmation of the free world of capitalist democracy, the prison forecloses the kinds of discussion, experiment, and imagination necessary to create alternative social worlds to the one we are compelled to inhabit and reproduce. The prison, Angela says, is a violent institution that reproduces violence. The institution feeds on that violence and reproduces it. It's important to underscore that this reproduction of violence through punishment is crucial to the prison industry, a term, she writes, that refers to, quote, "the production of prisoners, through which increasing numbers of corporations make their profits, as well as to the production of the conditions of poverty through the siphoning of social wealth away from schools, hospitals, childcare, housing, etc., which in turn creates the perceived need for more prisons." What Angela draws out for us here is a broader social context for understanding how this reproductive cycle of punishment and its ecology of violence is at the core of the power and profitability of security industries. And indeed, it is crucial to upholding the very capitalist system in which punishment and war and policing have become a mode of value extraction and capital accumulation in its own right. There is so much in this complex critique of the prison and racial capitalism that deepens our understanding of how and why these extrajudicial killings in the Philippines are carried out under Duterte's war on drugs with both impunity and widespread support. If the prison serves as the increasing global strategy of dealing with populations of Black, Indigenous, and immigrant populations as surplus disposable populations, creating the ideological illusion of a safer and freer society with a locking up of these figures of danger and threat, the murderous elimination of the so-called drug addict or addict serves a similar end. Drawing on the US playbook of wars on poverty, wars on drugs, as well as centuries of colonial moral campaigns, the Philippine war on drugs has produced the demonized and I would argue racialized figure of the addict as the uncontrolled force of crime destroying the very fabric of society. Figured as salot or rot, pestilence, as zombies, the victims of these extrajudicial killings are placed outside the bounds not only of the nation, but also of all that is regarded as human. Figured as not human, they have come to define absolutely expendable life, the polar opposite of the valued life that Duterte has promised to restore and redeem for Filipinos at home and in the world, in the wake of more than 50 years of socially and economically devastating neoliberalist policies of capitalist globalization, which has led to over 10 million people, or around 10 to 12% of the entire population, leaving the country in search of survival and better lives. The policing campaign and war can be viewed like the prison as disappearing, literally eliminating those who have been made to embody the contradictions of Philippine social life brought about by its own complex historical and present role and function in the world of global capitalism. The Philippines is a labor exporting country that provides a majority share of overseas migrant workers all over the world as domestic workers, caregivers, many of them here, seafarers in the global service, healthcare, and shipping industries. It is also one of the biggest destinations for business process outsourcing, call centers, IT support in the world. What underlies this global role is a history of World Bank economic development and restructuring programs, exploitative export processing manufacturing, violent land dispossessions at the hands of agribusiness, real estate development, and resource extraction industries, and endless counterinsurgent war. These are the systemic processes that I would say are processes of the global structural racism of imperialism that has impoverished the majority of the national population, dispossessing them of survival at home and rendering them disposable for the needs of capital everywhere. That almost all of these extrajudicially killed are part of the urban surplus population living in slums, a population deemed absolutely expendable, even as their own mothers, wives, and sisters render themselves serviceable as overseas migrant labor, attests to the fact that those who are the refuse of global capitalism and refugees from its violence, those now considered superfluous to the aims of wealth, are the very ones targeted for capital punishment by the ruling state. Angela underscores how the prison serves on the one hand as an ideological apparatus to shore up public acceptance of a violent everyday social order in the US putatively democratic capitalist society, and on the other hand, as an industry of value production in its own right. Similarly, the killings in the Philippines have been performing an important ideological role in upholding not so much the free world of democracy, but rather the sovereign right and value of a nation whose people's own capacities to survive and live are under daily assault. Like policing and prisons in the US, the police killings are also an economic force, highlighting the way that the very expendability of human life, which is produced by this capitalist order, has also become a lucrative enterprise. Killings are directly compensated by fees, bonuses, promotions for the killers, and they serve as an occasion for the proliferation of all kinds of monetary and other gain through the extortion of suspects, ransom of kidnapped suspects and their relatives, commissions for funeral parlors, ransom of dead bodies, and so on. What these enterprises exemplify is a mode of accumulation of global security industries that has at its basis the sheer expenditure of what capital, and indeed those who buy into the moral calculus of what constitutes valued life, deem nothing but lifetimes of waste. It is important, however, to link this gruesome profiting off of the active wasting of devalued populations in the policing security industries to the financialized global urban economy on which we all depend, and which Duterte is seeking to further expand in the Philippines, as evidenced in massive infrastructure building projects and increased direct foreign investments and capital loans that he has managed to garner in the midst of this humanitarian disaster. For in fact, the production of the expendability of increasingly greater swaths of disenfranchised peoples all over the world through these aggressive racist and sexist practices of war, policing, and dispossession, as well as normal practices of capitalist production, is in tandem with the production of serviceability of all that labor now recognized as essential to the global economy and essential to the capital lives of the few, which are valued above others. How is Angela Davis's theory and practice of Black feminism relevant to all this? As I've tried to suggest, Angela's feminist abolitionist critique of prisons provides a framework for understanding the material, economic, social, as well as political, ideological, and psychic role that this key state apparatus, social institution, and industry of punishment plays. It provides us with a way to think broadly about the institutions and practices for the reproduction of violence at multiple levels and scales, from the personal to the global, as a way of thinking and imagining the possibilities for new institutions and new ways of life, rather than the rehabilitation of the destructive, socially ruinous institutions and practices that now define and uphold contemporary global life. For Angela, quote, feminism must involve a consciousness of capitalism, which necessarily requires the consideration of a global context. Ferguson reminds us of the importance of a global context, she says, urging us to see and grapple with the connections and not just comparisons between social problems and issues seemingly separated by national borders, and to use the connections as a framework for organizing. As she writes, feminist methodologies impel us to explore connections that are not always apparent, and they drive us to inhabit contradictions and discover what is productive in these contradictions. Feminism insists on methods of thought and action that urge us to think about things together that appear to be separate and to disaggregate things that appear to naturally belong together. Just as she points out connections between the US police and the Israeli police, between racism in the US context and discourses and practices of terrorism and counterterrorism playing out abroad, I might point out the intertwining of the history of policing in the US with its colonial experiments in policing in the Philippines, as well as the long history of US counterinsurgency in the Cold War and in the war against terror, which are the conditions of possibility for the massive expansion and development of the militarized policing apparatus and practices we now see under Duterte. There are many more connections to make and explore, but I want to close with Angela's own insistence that what makes work feminist is not so much the object it addresses, but primarily its methodologies. For her, Black feminism involves this method of connecting peoples in places of social struggle, a practice of furthering what she calls the intersectionality of movements. It is this radical feminist spirit and practice that I believe is the basis of transnational solidarity. In her words, quote, "We cannot truly tell what we consider to be our own histories without knowing the other stories, and often we discover that those other stories are actually our own stories." Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tadiar. We're having questions coming in, and I encourage everyone to submit your questions in the Q&A button on the bottom of your Zoom panel. Up next is Dr. Barbara Ransby, who's the John D. MacArthur Chair and Distinguished Professor in the Departments of African American Studies, Gender, and Women's Studies in History at the University of Illinois at Chicago. She also directs the campus-wide Social Justice Initiative, a project that promotes connections between academics and community organizers doing work on social justice. She's a graduate of Columbia University and the University of Michigan, where she was a Mellon Fellow. Dr. Ransby is the author of 2 award-winning books, Ella Baker and the Black Freedom Movement, A Radical Democratic Vision, and Islanda, The Large and Unconventional Life of Mrs. Paul Robeson. She's also author of a 3rd book published in August 2018 entitled Making All Black Lives Matter, Reimagining Freedom in the 21st Century. The Ella Baker book was the recipient of 8 National Book Awards and recognitions including the Liberty Legacy Award from the Organization of American Historians, the Joan Kelly Prize from the American Historical Association, and the James A. Raleigh Prize, also from the American Historical Association. In 2017, Dr. Ransby was honored as one of the top 25 women in higher education by the publication Diverse Issues in Higher Education. She is also a recipient of the 2018 Angela Y. Davis Prize from the American Studies Association for Scholarship in Service of the Public Good. Dr. Ransby.
Hello, thank you for that lovely introduction. Thanks to all the organizers and supporters of this program and to the Human Rights Institute, and thanks for all the behind the scenes workers who helped to make this gathering possible. I'm so happy to be a part of this panel with Bettina Aptheker and Neferti Tadiar to talk about the politics and intellectual contributions of our sister, colleague, and comrade, Angela Y. Davis. I also want to just preface my remarks by acknowledging the passing of one of our dear friends and sisters, labor leader and freedom fighter, Karen Lewis. Karen is the former leader of the Chicago Teachers Union, and she was thrilled 7 years ago to share a panel with Angela Davis in Chicago. We had a good laugh about how thrilled she was. Karen Lewis was a formidable activist and organizer. She will be missed and dearly remembered. So to begin, perhaps more than any living Black political figure, Angela Davis is beloved around the world. She has hundreds of thousands of fans and followers. Wherever she goes, people want to get her autograph, take selfies with her. Now, on one level, that's a bit annoying and inconvenient and a byproduct of our celebrity-driven culture. But on another level, it means something quite significant. It means she represents something that those people identify with, admire, and support. Even though most people who celebrate Angela Davis, who invoke her words and sometimes emblazon her image on t-shirts and posters, do not know her, some may not even have read her very carefully, but their admiration and adoration is significant. Because she is not just a well-known political figure. Her voice, her image, her name symbolizes something that is worth recognizing. She stands squarely and unapologetically in a very specific political tradition, a tradition which, as Neferti and Bettina have articulated, feminist, abolitionist, internationalist, and socialist. And I think I will use my time today to focus most on the part of her politic which most people say the least about, and that is her socialist politic. In the public square and mainstream media, we hear the word socialism tossed around quite a bit lately. On the one hand, we see corporate Democrats ducking and dodging and deflecting in order to shield themselves from the label as if it were an epithet. At the other end of the political spectrum, we see white nationalists and white supremacists, some of those who rioted and tore up the US Capitol on January 6th, brandishing the word socialism like a weapon, a word most of them would be ill-equipped to even define. Now, in contrast, we see capitalism exposing itself like never before, as a system that cannot and will not meet the needs of the majority of people, as evidenced by the insatiable greed of 21st century capitalists, the obscene concentration of wealth in the hands of fewer and fewer people. At the same time, we see the growth of poverty, want, homelessness, and hunger. We know that because the rules and values of capitalism, that over 600 billionaires in this country have earned over $1 trillion since the COVID pandemic began. $1 trillion, a 34% increase in their accumulated wealth. That occurs in tandem with millions of people unemployed, facing eviction, fearing where their next meal will come from. Millions of unhoused people in cities and towns all over the country. And more people in prisons and jails than in any time in history. And these are overwhelmingly poor and working class people. We know that prisons are not only instruments of white supremacist policy, but of capitalist domination. Angela Davis teaches us that. And many young activists are listening to her analysis, building upon it and acting upon it. The Occupy Wall Street movement and its indictment of the gluttonous 1% opened a renewed debate about the immorality of capitalism, augmented by the climate justice movement that has exposed the ways in which the very logic of mindless capitalist growth and extraction is destroying the very planet we live on. A 2016 Harvard poll showed that the majority of young people 18 to 29 rejected capitalism as a fair, just, and desirable economic system. And over 9 million people voted for an open socialist in the most recent Democratic presidential primary. And when the Movement for Black Lives wrote its foundational document in 2016, A Vision for Black Lives, they wrote it as an anti-capitalist document. These are the people, many of them young people, who come to hear Angela Davis, to see Angela Davis, to read and quote Angela Davis, and they are not doing it primarily because she is a wonderful, generous, kind, and brilliant person, all of which she is. They are doing it because the ideas and the ideals she represents resonate. Now, intersectionality is a word that has also gotten a lot of currency in recent years. And as we know, Angela embodied an intersectional praxis long before it had a name. She had an intersectional analysis when she wrote Women, Race, and Class in 1981. And as Bettina has already outlined, she wrote reflections on Black women in the community of slaves from her prison cell in 1971. To paraphrase Angela Davis, Feminism involves so much more than gender equality. Feminism must involve a consciousness of capitalism and racism and colonialism and post-colonialities and ability and more genders than we can even imagine and more sexualities than we've ever thought we could name, end quote. So just as her feminism does not stand alone as some sort of singular corrective demand to an otherwise acceptable system, nor do socialist politics get deployed in some narrow, one-dimensional, frozen in time sort of way. Angela Davis, moreover, does not just tell us what radical socialist feminism reads like in a text, but she shows us what it looks like in real life. She stands not only with the critics of capitalism, but with the victims of capitalism. When activists make the demand in 2021 that we as a society must abolish prisons and defund the police, they are directly or indirectly calling for the dismantling of racial capitalism, because that is what the carceral system bolsters, and racial capitalism bolsters the carceral system. Police and prisons do not exist in a political or historical vacuum. Now, Angela Davis's feminism is also complex and multidimensional. In her words, she argues, I'm not talking about bourgeois feminism. I'm not talking about glass ceiling feminism. I'm not talking about simply supporting women who are already at the top. I'm talking about women at the bottom. Who is at the bottom? Queer and trans women and gender nonconforming women, poor and working class women, immigrant women and undocumented women, Black, brown, and indigenous women. Angela Davis's abolitionist politics are deeply embedded in her anti-capitalist politic. As she writes, the prison has become a black hole into which the detritus of contemporary capitalism is deposited. Mass imprisonment generates profits as it devours social wealth and thus reproduces the very conditions that lead people to prison. There is a depth of analysis there. We cannot afford a critique of carcerality and racist police violence that is devoid of a critique of the system that produces both. Let me conclude by saying a few words about Angela Davis's internationalism. To know Angela Davis is to know that her political family is a world family that defies the borders that colonizers have carved out in the earth. They are Palestinians and Filipinos, Cubans and South Africans. They claim her and she claims them, and their wisdom, life stories, their struggles and courage show up in her work and her words, and we are all richer for it. A part of Angela Davis's internationalism means she crosses borders as a matter of principle. She hasn't crossed too many borders lately because since March of 2020, most of us have been pretty grounded. And March of 2020 is actually the last time I saw her face to face. It was at the Beyond the Bars conference in New York City. And at that time, she was in community with Australian feminist abolitionists that she has worked with for many years. Before that, she and her partner and colleague Gina Dent were in Brazil, building political and intellectual community with the leaders of the Black women's movement there, and honoring the legacy of Marielle Franco, a Black, queer, feminist socialist, politician and activist who came from the favelas of Rio, who was an outspoken critic of patriarchy and capitalism and corruption, and was assassinated because of it. But Angela Davis has not only crossed geographic borders, she has crossed interdisciplinary borders and the borders of single issue politics. She has made a place for her politics and our politics in radical feminism, and she has made a radical Black socialist feminism an indispensable part of how we understand, think, and talk about a Black radical and revolutionary tradition. And she steadily pushes that political vision, a vision of a more just post-capitalist world, a vision of a world without prisons, a vision of a society that is radically inclusive and holds a place for all of us, and one that centers beauty and joy and music and justice, and all of us in all of our full-bodied, robust, complex, multidimensional selves. I'm thrilled to know Angela as a friend, a colleague, a comrade, and a sister, and a fellow socialist. She inspires us to keep dreaming, to keep rethinking what we think we know, and to keep struggling for ourselves and future generations. I'll stop there and I look forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Ransby.
Thank you very much to all of our panelists. I join our audience in awe of all the content that was just shared, and I'm sure, like everyone else, it's going to take some time to think through it. But our opportunity right now is, as you said, to have a discussion, and we'd like to get that started as soon as possible. So we'll head right in. And to start things off, actually, we thought it would be interesting to allow the panel to have a little bit of conversation with one another and make some music together, since we have such unbelievable panelists with us today. If you have three folks like this together, you want to see if they can make some music. So we'd like to just kind of open it up for a few minutes for the panelists to offer each other any questions that they have. And then Halima and I will very politely nudge our way back into the conversation when it comes time for our answers from our audience. So with that, Dr. Aptheker, you were the first to speak, and so you've been off the mic for a bit. I wonder if you or Neferti, since Barbara just ended, I'll give her a time to catch her breath. If you'd like to offer the other panelists a question or comment or a sort of prompt for discussion.
Well, I could just say, I could just express my gratitude, start with that, for both Neferti and Barbara for their wonderful presentations. And one of the things I think about a lot is as Angela has grown, in thinking, I mean, we all have, but there's such a consistency in the manner of her solidarity and in the manner of her compassion, which I was thinking about all the way back in my first experiences, and I've known her such a long time, but thinking about with the prison writing and then with the more current writing that she's been doing, there's a consistency there that I think is really quite dramatic. And Neferti, I was thinking about the awful suffering and pain of what's happening in the Philippines, and what kinds of things you see in terms of movement there, of things of the movement within the Philippines, as people are organizing. If you have some thoughts about that, I would be very grateful, as a sort of continuation of Angela's always thinking, what shall we do? How to do it? How can we move forward? So any thoughts I'd really appreciate.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank both of you for bringing up such incredible, important dimensions of Angela's work, which, I really also have appreciated. Bettina, you're reminding us about the importance of her showing the dailiness of survival as a political act. Really, for me, connected with Barbara's also talking about what we know both personally and in her work as the absolute joy that and warmth that Angela sees and stokes for beyond survival, even as the basis of political struggle and change. But I did have some slides that because of time, I didn't share them, but I did want to just give people a visual sense of the movements that are happening, because to me, that they connect to Black Lives Matter, that all of the movements against the killings and against Duterte are very mindful and actually very identified with so much of the work that's happened and the protests that are going here. So, I mean, just very quickly, these are some of the, these are artists and political activists in the US and the Philippines who are using their talents to protest against the killings. The next slide. These are on the right are actually the survivors of some of the killings. These are the kin, family, friends. They're wearing this kerchiefs in order to not be identified by the police, but also in reference to the way that many of the killings have gruesomely consisted of the heads being wrapped by the police in packing tape. But you see the expressions. Next. The thing I also wanted to point out, which was, and Barbara mentioned this, of the most marginalized among the women, the leaders of so many of these movements are the feminists. This is a peasant woman organization, a Mihan peasant women organization that connects, landlessness, farming, to the killings of the attacks and the killings of indigenous peoples. Next. Again, the connections between farmers. It is feminists and women leaders and movements that are leading the way. Next. And you will see that the on the left, it is help, justice, land, food. And on the right is the University of the Philippines, which is under attack because of the new anti-terror laws of Duterte. And next, I think this is the last one, or the next two ones. This is another feminist collective leading some of the protest movements. And one last thing, and then I'm done. Feminista, hindi terrorista, feminist, not terrorist. Again, it is a feminist movement as well as a queer movement that is leading the movement against Duterte. Thank you. But in turn, I wanted to have more conversation with Barbara as well, because of, I think, the way that both of us, emphasize the socialism of Angela's feminism. I'd say the socialist aspect of her feminism and the critique of racial capitalism that is really at the heart of her critique of prisons and policing. I didn't have quite a question to ask, but I wanted to underscore that connection in both of our talks.
Yeah, I think I have, it's when we talk about intersectionality, sometimes we've spoken about Angela's political contribution before, and sometimes in intersectionality, it's the class politics that get left off. And whenever we hear Angela's voice, of course, she reminds us. And so I think that is, at this moment in particular, really, really important. But the other thing I also wanted to say, which I'm reminded of as we speak, is, well, two things. One is, as you're talking about women and feminists leading the way in the Philippines, when you look at the uprisings going on all over the world, I mean, the women in Brazil, in the radical movement in Brazil, the Black movement in Brazil, it's feminist. Puerto Rico, in the Puerto Rican uprising, there were women in the forefront, Yarima Bonilla and others, and organizations, and in Mexico. So, so we Angela's politics of kind of socialist feminist radicalism is also being echoed around the world. As at the same time, we see the Dutertes and Bolsonaros and Trumps of the world, with their strategy for how capitalism is going to survive, we see a growing movement. And that's where I find, such great optimism. And I think, many people of our generation have, and Angela's just recently had a birthday. So we wish her a happy birthday. But she came of age at a time when, the left was at a different place. And I think many people of that moment have kind of stayed in that moment. I don't know if I want to say many, but some, some of our elders who want to tell young people, this is how we did it in our day, or these are the mistakes you're making, and I've been doing this for 40 years. And Angela has such a different approach to intergenerational work, a humility and a youthfulness that she brings to her work, and a curiosity and an openness that I think young activists gravitate toward. And she has all the more influence because of it. And I think there's great lessons there in terms of how we can engage in intergenerational work, as feminists, as leftists, and so forth.
I wanted to ask something because you all mentioned obviously the feminist praxis, feminist methodologies of Dr. Davis's work. For our audience, if you could help explain that, and I have a quote from Freedom is a Constant Struggle, where Dr. Davis says, "I often like to talk about feminism not as something that adheres to bodies, not as something grounded in gendered bodies, but as an approach." And could you talk a little bit about that and help us unpack that a bit?
But maybe I could start. And I wanted to echo something that Barbara said also, which is the activism of the younger generation is so inspiring. It is so inspiring, and their tactics, ideas, how to do things. And I mean this in a global sense also is and you just say, "Wow, that's a new idea," or "I think that might work." And it's very, very inspiring. And also the way they are making connections between different aspects of oppression and capitalism and anti-capitalist, anti-racist movements and capitalism and the intertwining. So I think that's the point about this methodology, and the point about thinking in new ways, so that a feminist is certainly not excluding gender. It's not about excluding gender, but it's about seeing the way in which everything, including Barbara mentioned climate, everything is intertwined, and everything is a consequence of masculinist capitalism and the way in which we're trying to think about a different kind of vision of society, which is inclusive and which is, I keep emphasizing, is compassionate toward all of the multiple ways in which cultures and people and lives are experienced with due respect and dignity and so on. I'm so impressed by the role of queer activists, but the way that's part of feminist activists, the part of that is the way of anti-racist activists, and the way everything comes together. It seems to me that's the methodology that we're talking about, is one that's there's a way of also, speaking of this, we say intersectional, but one could also say intrasectional. And the intra idea about that is that what's intersecting is already embedded in the other. It's not like there's another, if you understand what I mean. Everything is already intertwined, and we are recognizing the ways in which that's the case. And if I could say just one little personal thing, I wanted to say to Barbara that I absolutely loved your book on Islander Robeson. I think I wrote to you about that. But it was a tremendous contribution. And she exemplifies feminist methodology that we're talking about. I think that's a fair statement to say in terms of her scientific training, in terms of her internationalism in her era, when she was living, but she exemplifies that. And you really, I think, in your book, made that clear in a way that was very, very beautiful to my way of thinking.
I just wanted to, responding to Halima's question, I think that quote, talking about this idea of not tethering feminism to bodies, at least to me, it also calls upon us to reject a kind of essentialism, right? That all women are not feminist, and all trans people are not radical, and it is not just the embodiment of our gender identities that determine our politics. And I'm reminded that that is very important in this moment where we see, you know, kind of cosmetic changes, and we're told to be very, very happy when we see, you know, women's bodies or Black or brown faces in positions of power, regardless of the politics and policies that they advocate. And you know, this current presidential administration has, you know, been very diverse. We have yet to see whether it is going to be in service of the interests of some of the most marginal members of our communities, even though it may be, in fact, colorful and have a lot of firsts in terms of women. So, you know, so gender not being simply about bodies, that's one aspect of it. It's also about, you know, understanding the performance of gender and, you know, in addition to the embodiment of gender identities. So.
I want to add just to those both points that for Angela, I mean, she says, one of the things that she says often enough is that, you know, we should not be so attached to our objects, whether objects of study as academics or objects of organizing. It's what allows that openness and curiosity that Barbara had mentioned. I mean, we should not even be attached to gender, she says, the concept of gender as a single thing that, as Bettina says, gender is so embedded in so many relations that and it has so many things that it cannot be disembedded from that. So the methodology that she actually also embodies in practice is precisely this openness in exploring the categories from what's most marginal to them. And this is where her interest in trans women, transgender women, she says that we should not start from the normative assumptions of the category, but rather the most marginal aspects of the category that along the way is going to change the category itself. And that's what keeps her politics moving, because she does not fix on the categories or on our perspectives, that she allows us to go on this journey to open up to surprise. And it is her openness, you know, part of the reason that she is an international and transnational figure is precisely because she does not, as Barbara said, she crosses those borders. She does not maintain like the parameters and the bounds of what a politics was at a given moment, that she opens it up to see, you know, what happens when I connect and hear these other stories. How will I change, and how can I change them? And I really do think that this is the basis of transnational solidarity. And that's why I thought it was really amazing when she said, intersectionality of movements is not necessarily intersectionality as producing particular kinds of identities and bodies, or bodies exhibiting that intersectionality, but rather the intersectionality of our historical experiences and what then comes out of this intersectionality as a framework for organizing. That, I think, is what at least that's what I understood from those comments, Halima, about de-essentializing our thinking of feminism and de-essentializing our ideas of bodies as the actors of feminism.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you all. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and move us to our questions from our audience. It's about 10 after 4. I want to make sure that we start engaging our many, many folks that are joining us today. So Halima and I will both we'll alternate back and forth and serve up some questions for you all. And we'll allow you to handle the questions however you'd like. And we'll just kind of go from there. I'm going to choose this question because it allows us to go in a little bit more on this question of anti-capitalism and, you know, why are we talking about socialism as a sort of central part of intersectionality and these sort of intersection of movements. So one of our audience members asks, and I quote here, other government systems, including China, run by the Chinese Communist Party, also murders and oppresses people regularly. The Uyghurs are a good example. Do you believe that capitalism is really the reason for murder under Duterte and his regime? If you have focused on it greatly, but you do not support that capitalism by itself produces this violence. And so I believe the audience member is asking you to speak to this connection between capitalism and these more oppressive features of the state.
I guess that's for me.
Sounds like it, but I think it absolutely.
I can follow up after you.
I think
it
Barbara
ties to
and
everyone.
Bettina are capable of answering it as well. But I do not, I think what's required is for us to have a better understanding of capitalism, actually. We have to have an expanded understanding of capitalism. And when I say capitalism, I am including the long legacies of slavery and colonialism and imperialism. That yes, it patriarchy, all of these ways that we understand now. When we think about intersectionality, we actually have to think about capitalism through these very structures that we see are outside of, that we think are outside of capitalism, but are actually intrinsic to its operations. There's no way that we can understand China right now as not capitalist. The Chinese state is capitalist, and the nation state system through which states keep their populations captive, over which they exercise complete sovereign power, and the creation of minorities within it is not removed from the history of capitalism and its reliance on an older history of colonialism and slavery and imperialism, in which particular populations were minoritized, were made to do certain kinds of labor, the way older practices then get refurbished under capitalism for security industries. So I am not trying to explain the entire human history. I think, though, that we can explain, the last 500 years through expanded understanding of capitalism that includes at the heart of it slavery and colonialism, and that's why we call it racial capitalism.
Absolutely. No, I would just echo that. And someone put in the chat, state capitalism, ! Which is how I think most of us would label China, not as a socialist country. And that said, though, I think as socialists, we want to also critique socialist mistakes and failures of attempted socialist experiments, right? So that's a part of the job, that's a part of the task. But the reason I focus on capitalism, on racial capitalism, is because built into the very logic of the system, the values and the ethos of the system is exploitation, inequality, and oppression. So you can minimize that in various ways, but you are always going to have that push. I mean, as the climate justice movement says, it's the logic of an infinite growth strategy on a finite planet. That logic has put us, at war with the planet. But also, capitalists get rich by doing what? By exploiting people, by exploiting labor. And so there's going to always be that built-in push and pull. To enter into socialist experiments means there are other challenges, but some of the fundamental challenges of capitalism that undermine our humanity and foster suffering and inequality won't be the challenges. So I mean, I think, there are no utopias, but there are better options and a better terrain of struggle and building. And according to my values, socialism and the ideal of socialism is a better starting point than capitalism, which is, people say, well, capitalism's working. It's working for capitalists, and not even that. I should also say, one of the projects that I've been working on is really to try to read a lot of economists, including capitalist economists, and across the board, capitalism is in a huge crisis at the moment because of financialization, because of the climate crisis, because of robotization. And many people who want to save capitalism are acknowledging that. About 2 years ago, Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, wrote a piece in the New York Times where the final line was one of the opening lines was, capitalism as we know it is dead. Meaning that capitalists have to rethink their modus operandi in order to survive, because it has been, such a destructive system on so many levels and not sustainable at this point. So, so we all are challenged with that. And sometimes the left doesn't acknowledge, the precipice that we're on as much as some of the people who are trying to hang on to the old system.
I wonder, Halima, can I just jump in with one little thought here? Totally,
Of course.
totally, this isn't contrary to what what I really appreciate. I just wanted to say that one of the features that I've thought a lot about in terms of thinking about socialism and anti-capitalism and so forth. I agree with you totally about China and so forth. And also what, Barbara, I just want to say what you said about, there were socialist countries. And I certainly traveled to them, and I met with comrades who were there and working and so forth, and they had terrible problems. And sometimes we didn't, a lot of times we didn't acknowledge what was actually going on because we wanted we were attached to the system and we wanted it to be. And so we didn't look more closely at some of the aggravations that were happening that, led to such terrible, problematic conditions for people. But what I wanted to say is the perspective that I have found extremely useful, and I'm thinking about Latin America, also Brazil, for example, is the indigenous perspective. I think a certain kind of traditional indigeneity that sees the interconnection and interbalance of all of life, and has been resurgent in recent times, is very important in terms of climate change and in terms of how that's being seen, and kind of leading the way. And women have been very important in that indigenous movement, this traditional indigenous way of seeing things. But it has to do. I was thinking, for example, of the activist and scholar Winona LaDuke, who's in Minnesota, and she's done amazing work, just amazing work, and what her thinking is and her writing and so forth. So she has a book, for example, that's called "For All Our Relations," and it gives us, at least it helps me in thinking a little bit outside the boxes of traditional thinking about socialism or capitalism, or and not disagreeing with what people are saying, but just trying to expand a little bit. And I think it's been at least for me, it's been very useful. It's been a very useful perspective. So I just wanted to throw that out there for us to think about.
Can I just add one quick thing to Bettina's, which is,
Sure.
Yes, I think in fact that younger people have learned a lot from the criticisms of the way that capitalism was understood and the way that socialism was understood. We're benefiting now from the fact that they are not fixed to those perspectives. They're not fixed to these older ideas, and that it's the critiques now that have expanded and deepened our understanding of capitalism to include race, gender, sexuality, to include indigeneity. Those are the descriptions and analyses of capitalism, which Angela actually also embraces, which is why she is so relevant to so many young people, because they see these now as not in the past seen as secondary to some kind of like organization of the economy, but really that the organization of social relations is really fundamental to the organization of society, of capitalism as a whole, and that therefore the conclusion is that to transform a capitalist society means to transform all of the social relations. It is not to transform some little part of the economy, some kind of little part of the production. This is a radical transformation.
I think,
Yes, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, there are organizations like Left Roots and the Afro-Socialist Caucus of DSA, and, that don't have all the answers, but they're asking these kinds of questions. And many of them, young queer people of color who are deeply invested in a different vision of a post-capitalist world. And that's where we're hedging our bets. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, and I also see that in the classroom, that students starting to differentiate and be able to say to be anti-capitalist is not to be anti-American, starting to disassociate that with their American identities. Just to go off, Dr. Ransby, you just talked about the LGBTQ community. There is a question here that says, Dr. Ransby, could you elaborate more on the LGBTQ plus experience and the connection to capitalism, as well as how it affects the socialist movement?
Well, I mean, in terms of a feminist practice, we understand the social construction of gender like we understand the social construction of race, and a heteropatriarchal capitalist system is one that forces a certain kind of conformity. And so, our queer colleagues and comrades are pushing us to think of reimagining a set of social relationships at which gender identity and sexuality are at the center. And so we can't really rethink capitalism. We can't rethink racial capitalism, or as Adams would say, racial gendered capitalism, without also rethinking gender. And we look to LGBTQ organizers and thinkers and intellectuals, not just because they're LGBTQ, and that's important to say, right? It's not every Black person does not have a critique of white supremacy, a la Clarence Thomas, right? So we understand that embracing a certain gender identity or embracing a certain sexuality or being of a particular racial or ethnic group doesn't determine our politics, but the collective experience can inform a set of radical politics and should inform a set of radical politics about how we reimagine ourselves and how we understand gender and sexuality as embedded in and reinforcing the hierarchies of a capitalist system. So that's in short. People have written very long and eloquent texts about this that we should all read and reread and debate and can learn from.
Excellent. So I'm going to jump in with another question if we don't have any more comments here. Okay, so I would like to ask those on the panel who do not identify as Black women, what you've personally learned in providing support to Black women. I would also like to ask those on the panel who identify as Black women, I'm assuming that's Dr. Ransby, for what advice you'd personally give to those who provide support to you.
Well, what we talk about is the importance and limits of, identity, if you will. So my experience as a Black woman is informed not just by being born a Black woman, but of both agency and collective and community experience. So I was born into a Black working class family in Detroit. Everybody around me worked in the auto industry. My parents worked very hard, were very generous people, and really had very little at the end of their lives in terms of material things. And all of that, right, which is not just about melanin, all of that informed my Black feminist politics. So, but how we move in the world, how people respond to us, regardless of what's in our head. You can be the most anti-racist white person in the world, but you move in the world and you're going to be treated in the world in a certain way, because race and identity is not just what we claim, but is how we are labeled by the world. And so I think people have to recognize that privilege, move with move in a resolute solidarity and humility. And I have to do that as someone who was raised as a working class person, but lives a very middle class life now. I can't say that my Black experience is the Black experience of an undocumented, queer, unhoused person, right? That Black experience is much more at the cutting and bleeding edge of racial capitalism than is mine. So I don't want us to reduce our politics or our authority, if you will, or some sort of authenticity, by being a Black woman or not a Black woman. But, of course, it is important. It defines us in the world. It defines where we come from and who our people are in a very basic sense, but it doesn't stop there.
I thought I might jump in a little bit. It's a very poignant question to me, because I was very young, very young. Solidarity with anti-racist struggles and with African American people has been at the emotional core of my childhood and the emotional core of my life for so much of it, because of where I was born and the people I interacted with, and my experiences from a very young age. And so I learned to love people very personally, very young. I'm talking about Black people, like Dr. Du Bois, for example. I'm not trying to hold him up at any kind. I'm just trying to say I knew him when I was very little, and I loved him. And I loved his wife, Shirley Graham Du Bois. These were people who were very important to me emotionally as a child. And so that changed a lot. From that kind of experience informs a lot about your emotionality. I was born in a white, middle-class, communist, Jewish family. I was echoing sort of where Barbara was coming from. Hey, it's very different, you know. But that's a family I was born into, and but I had such profound experiences that moved me so much, and the friendship with Angela that goes back to childhood has been so fundamental to who I am. That one of the things that happened for me was that when she was arrested and when she was in prison, I was so furious at the system. I had so much anger about what was happening, which I tried to channel politically and writing and other ways of doing it. So one of the things I wanted to just emphasize is the importance. You're white, you don't lose the white privilege. Goodness knows you have the white privilege. And the action of solidarity, the action of being in solidarity, of showing up, of doing what you can, of being present, of writing, of thinking all the time in these intersectional ways that we've been talking about, just seems to be very important. And I don't know if that's completely responsive to the question that was being asked, but it is something that I feel very deeply about, and I do the best I can. I try to do the best I possibly can to be in service, in compassion, in solidarity.
Yeah, that's it's hard to summarize, things one has learned personally, because I do see this as a relationship, a long relationship. And I'm not just saying my friendship with Angela. I am talking about, one's relationship and actually historical experience. That these things do change over time. I was born in a rural town, middle class, but in a rural town in the north of the Philippines, very far from the cosmopolitan world, and very far from all the centers of power. But that by itself doesn't explain very much. I mean, when I came to the US, I didn't consider myself a woman of color. I encountered women of color politics when I moved to California. And so, relationships with other women of color, but also, decades, I've lived for more than half my life in the United States now, of the kinds of treatment, expectation, you live these things. And so I guess, I don't know if I'm answering the question either. What have I learned? I have learned, I suppose one could say that it's in these relationships, in these longstanding relationships of solidarity, of kinship. I do think that there is kinship in politics, friendship, that you are, as the subtitle of the research cluster that Angela and I used to advise, you are in collaboration and conflict, and you work things out, and you connect, and you see what's what connects you and what divides you, and your emotions are not all, as I would agree with Barbara, it's not all about what your so-called identity is. It's, you can be furious like Bettina and feel very viscerally the things that would seem to be like the province of other people's. But because you're already so involved on so many multiple levels, that it's kind of why I ended with that quotation. When you find out that other stories are also your stories, not that they're the same stories, but you find yourself in others and they find themselves in you. That's the basis of, a deeper connection. And like I said, there's not a single thing that I can say was something that I learned from these, from any of these relationships. But okay, I'll say one thing, which is I have learned so much from the radicalism of Black feminists. I have learned so much because they have put into words and into action perspectives that completely pull the rug out of the normal order. And that allows you a place. When you're from a different kind of outside, that allows you a place to also make your claims. And that what Black feminism has created are these spaces that allow actually the claims of others to also accompany them. That's the capacious form of Black feminism that I have learned from. And that's why I'm friends with Angela. It's like she sees me and I see her. She sees my people, I see her people. And whoever our peoples will be eventually,
I want to also, I hear you, Neferti. And I think when we, Ella Baker used to ask this question, who are your people? And that grows over time, right? As we are in solidarity and relationship with each other over the time. And I guess the best advice to people in terms of the person asking the question is to show up, to take risks, and to be humble. And to recognize the similarities, but also recognizing the differences. I mean, one of the big issues that the Movement for Black Lives has foregrounded, which I think is right, is the persistence of a kind of anti-Black racism that is particularly acute, that sometimes gets lost in our discussions of the larger category people of color. It doesn't acknowledge the particularities of anti-Blackness. And I do not say that, and I'm going to say this explicitly, from any kind of Afro-pessimist point of view. I have a critique of that particular intellectual framework that's being offered right now. But I do think it's important to note it, to mark it, and to mark the place of anti-Blackness, particularly in the US, but also, in the world. And the Brazilians are very sharp about this at this point. So.
So no, that was very rich. What some of our students are asking about how to move on from academic scholarly work to organizing. So there are a couple questions around this. This is a question for all the amazing panelists. What would you recommend for someone starting out on their journey for being an intersectional, anti-racist socialist? What would you recommend? What's beyond the scholarly school, university work?
Well, most of my most important work is not academic, scholarly, campus-based work. And most of the most vibrant intellectual communities I've been in have actually been not in universities, which is, is where I earn a living. But no, I mean, there are many organizations out there, and if you don't find an organization that's a fit, that's open, that's that doesn't require you to agree with everything from day one, then create an organization. Create a discussion group, and then when you have enough unity, decide what you can do together. You can hold vigils, you can write petitions, you can get in motion, and figure out how you can connect with a larger thrust. I mean, there are a number of coalitions Right now, I work with something called the Rising Majority, which is an organization of organizations, but many of those organizations are local. And I encourage people to join something. It's not a lifelong commitment necessarily. You might find the first organization you join is not the organization for you, but you rehearse that practice of thinking through ideas with other people, of organizing strategies with other people. And you're off from there. I mean, I've been in many organizations and have founded many organizations, most of which don't exist anymore. But that process and those relationships, actually, many people who I've been involved in campaigns and struggles with are still friends and colleagues and comrades, and I still think with them and reunite with them around, various political practices. So I encourage that person to create community, to create struggle, to figure out a way to study, serve, and persevere.
Did anyone else want to jump in on
Anyone
this? Or do we want to move on? Go ahead.
Oh, I just have a little thought about it. I think it's a little thought. It's just that movements, social justice movements, anti-racist movements, socialist movements, we need people of many different talents and many different ideas. And so we can think about organizing also. I was thinking, Neferti, of the beautiful pictures you showed. We need artists. We need poets. We need storytellers. We need all of those things. So it might be helpful also, as we think about activism, to think about where our passions are as people and what we like to do and how much we can contribute in community with people. And there's no lack of issues. there's no lack of, people are out there. And so to find a place just to start, and I agree with Barbara, just get started and see what it's like, but avoid, in my experience, rigidity, and avoid as capacious as possible, and as understanding and so forth. I've found that a lot myself personally in queer spaces. It's been a very important place for me to be able to connect with people and to organize. And part of that is my whole process of coming out for years and accepting that part of myself and so forth. And just as a little example, I'm working on this book about queer communists, and I have had so much help. I have had so much help from people who said, "Have you heard of so and so?" And an archivist who writes to me and say, "I just got a file, come look at it," or an activist who says, "Did you ever hear of this artist?" And and I start looking people up, or this musician or composer or whatever it is. And people's lives are wonderful and amazing. But I think I just wanted to add that dimension, that politics is also about the creative, and some of the most important political organizing that's done is being done by artists and writers in various ways. That's a little note about it.
Can I add to that? Thank you, Bettina, because I thought I wouldn't answer this question because of the notion of what an activist might be, but when Toni Morrison died, Angela had come from the small memorial, and she came over to dinner, and she was recollecting that Toni Morrison said that she wasn't on the front lines during all of that activism, and so she really made it her mission, to publish Black authors. That she really made it her mission to do what she could in the space, and according to her talents, like Bettina said. And we were having a discussion about that, about how given the radical analysis of what needs to be done, I agree with Bettina, there is no lack of spaces in which we need change, in which we create, transform the feelings of people, the affects, their abilities to see things. It's no accident that, one of the organizations, the first organization, there were only 2 organizations really, when Duterte first started killing people. Everybody was just too afraid. And they also had, they were waiting around thinking about, what was going to happen. And it was the artists. It was artists who were brave, and they just went out immediately. I mean, they started doing things like, looking at police reports and making watch lists, even though that was completely out of their, they had never done that. But all I'm saying is just affirming what Bettina said. Is I think the activism is incredibly important. The organizing, at one point, Angela says all these demonstrations, they keep issues alive. They're pushing for things. But there is a lot of work for so many people, and in so many realms of life. There is no lack.
Mm-hmm. I just a final point on that. There's so much to say in response to these questions. I do think one thing that's really important in this moment, and reiterating the dangers that come from authoritarian regimes like Duterte is a sobering reminder. We have to have an analysis of what we're up against and what moment we're in. And I think in this country, the neoliberal threat is still a threat. Right? The neoliberal policies can kill you, just like fascist authoritarian policies can kill you, sometimes a little bit slower, sometimes not so much. But I do think there is a sort of neo-fascist threat in this country. The white nationalist militia are growing. They're dangerous. They mean to do harm to people. And we have to be very serious about organizing resistance. The 26 million people who marched in the streets in the wake of George Floyd's murder. It's political malpractice for movements not to be organizing those people, not to be giving those people a political home, not to create portals of entry and on-ramps for the organizations that we're in. So we need mass organizations. Even if we're not all on the same page, we're on the same page about enough to push back against some of the most dangerous threats that we face in this period. And so, it's really important to bring whatever talents you have, but it's also important to engage in a rigorous analysis. And, these young people are, they're smarter than us. They will figure out more things than our generation did, and we're counting on them to do that. But it does require a certain discipline, a certain rigor, a certain seriousness, and an effort to connect the dots and to make each successive phase of organizing more than the sum total of the parts. So we don't just want 10 organizations in silos. We want 10 organizations that are 10 times stronger together than they are on their own. So, if people keep that in mind as they're doing the organizing, I think we'll strategically get to a better place.
Dr. Ransby, that's actually a perfect segue to the next question I have for you. And we're going to ask, this is our only selfish question as the Institute. We're going to insert it in the conversation. Hopefully we can squeeze in one more
ask for a
audience.
donation.
No. We won't do that to you.
How selfish.
We won't do that. It's not I promise everybody this wouldn't be a telethon. So we won't do that. But it's a perfect segue to the project that I mentioned in our introduction. And so this hasn't really gone fully public yet, so I'm not getting us in trouble. But we had been working on for a couple of years with some of our partners and human rights commissions across the state, particularly the Sonoma County Commission, on the California, we're calling the California Clear Act, which will hit committee this week. And it's, we believe, one of the first pieces of legislation of this kind in the nation that would actually fully prohibit membership and all kinds of other activities of any law enforcement officer, including prison guards, very importantly for those who understand how our prison system works, with any of these right-wing white nationalist organizations. Now, this became very public for everyone to see on the 6th. And today, of course, is the Senate trial of the former president, with direct sort of connections to that event. Now, I asked this question because it's complicated, right? So all of us, and I think all of us, at least on the panel, identify with politics of abolition. right? Where, many of us respond to that and say, well, these are white supremacist and pro-capitalist institutions to their core, and why should that surprise us? But I think, as Dr. Ransby just said, we also recognize that there is an increasing and additional danger to allowing the normalization and the open infiltration and open cooperation between these militia groups and formal law enforcement. Again, particularly when we're talking about their work in the dark shadows of our prison system and in patrolling our streets when those with cameras are not there, and all of these other kinds of things. And so we are trying as best we can, as those scholars and activists who really actually approach this through an abolitionist perspective, also coming to terms with the fact that these institutions are with us for right now, and we still have to create policy protections against some of these more let's say concerning developments. And so my question for the panel is how you feel we should be engaging with what we now know is this open infiltration of law enforcement by these right-wing extremist organizations, keeping in mind that we still want to stay true to our abolitionist roots and those perspectives, while also making sure to make some progress in this moment. Hopefully my question's making sense, and we're very, very excited to hear anything you'd have to say about it.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know the language of the CLEAR Act, but it doesn't sound like it's in contradiction to any kind of abolitionist sensibilities. I mean, basically you're saying if people are employed in law enforcement and in the prison industry, which, unfortunately still exists, right, that they shouldn't also have the compounded threat of also being in these white vigilante and racist organizations. I mean, that doesn't, we understand that that's not a transformative change, but it is a change that lessens the threat and the danger that people face. I mean, I spent a little bit of time with Albert Woodfox when he was released from prison after 43 years in Angola, in Chicago. And he came several times, and again, somebody who was people were amazed at what he had lived through and the wisdom and humility and gentleness that he carried. And he was telling the story of some of the reforms that they fought for when he was in solitary. And one of them was simply to get meals passed through at, eye level or table level and not slid under the door, as if they were, a non-human animal or whatever. And there was a discussion where the young woman stood up and said, she said, I'm an abolitionist. I don't do anything to help, to reform prisons. I want to abolish prison. And I thought it was such a short-sighted and arrogant view of what we need to do to survive, right? And also what we do to build movements in opposition to harmful institutions that we want to destroy. They're not going to fall apart overnight. But the counter-reform struggles we engage in are important, right? If you have the idea that every reform reinforces the system, that is a position of privilege and arrogance vis-a-vis people who are bearing the brunt of the system as it is now. To say if unions negotiate a contract, these are mere crumbs. Well, it's easy to say if you have a big cake, but if you only have one or two crumbs, it makes a difference in people's lives. And so if we don't care about the suffering of people in the here and now and wanting to decrease that, how in the world can we imagine, creating and building and being the architects of a society that's going to be based on compassion and caring and reducing suffering? So, I think we do have to be critical of ways in which we reinforce the logic, both of capitalism and of the carceral system. At the same time, we have to engage in struggles that, that move the needle, and most importantly, lessen the suffering and affirm the humanity of our people.
I would just like to say, I affirm everything that Barbara just said. And I mean, the whole point of our movement and of abolition and socialism is to stop the suffering. The whole thing is to ease the suffering. And that's why we devote so much of our energies and lives to this in various ways. But I just want to comment that this Clear Act that you're talking about, this is very, very, very important. As someone who studied the rise of fascism in Germany, it is really important to think about the ways in which the Nazis infiltrated the armed forces and they infiltrated the police. And I'm not talking now about the SS and so the extra, you know what I'm saying, the extra legal. I'm talking about the way they infiltrated. And there has to be an understanding of that, of how dangerous this is in this moment in this country when you have this neo-fascist movement and the way it's infiltrating. And so it's profound to watch who's being arrested by the FBI also now, of people that invaded the Capitol building, because a lot of them are ex-military and some are police officers. There was a retired fireman. They have, and they're white and they're middle class. Who could afford to go to Washington? They're middle class people, and so some of this militarization that we're seeing, the armaments that we're seeing, the paramilitary groups that we're seeing, and so forth, are incredibly dangerous. And everything we can do to somehow curtail, make people aware, and not make it compatible with being a police officer or being a prison guard, or for that matter, being a teacher, and exercising certain kinds of roles in the public schools, for example. I just think these are very, very important. But there's going to be a backlash around that in terms of the First Amendment and freedom of association. So we have to think about, that's why I brought up the Nazi Germany example. We have to think about how you talk about it and how you organize around that, so people understand that clause that says clear and present danger. The First Amendment is not absolute. The First Amendment says if there is a clear and present danger, and these kinds of organizations represent a clear and present danger to the lives of people in the United States. I'm just adding that into it. Yeah, that's just a comment.
There's very little to add, I think, to what both Barbara and Bettina have said, and except to say that it is a really important question we have to ask all the time, as we, the harm reduction is really, really important. And it's kind of like there is so much that activists are doing to stop the slaying, to stop killing, to stop the abuse of domestic workers. They have to rely on the legal apparatus, which we all know, is very compromising and narrows the claims. And in fact, and sometimes it's even worse. It reinstalls, new apparatuses for control, and does more damage. So I'm not saying that we. I agree with Barbara. It is a privilege to think that you can just critique and just take that stance without taking into account the survival of people. That people survive by using all of the means that we have now, the present day means that we have. But I would just say that in the case of the Philippines, for example, people are actually surviving also through these predatory means, right? But we have to peel off. I know this doesn't address the direct context that you were talking about, Bill, but I do think about it quite a bit. We have to peel off those forms of social survival that people have been relying on, that we can build on at the same time that we address the harm that's happening now. We also have to strengthen and create new institutions of living, and it's by noticing the difference and thinking about all of those, honing those forms of social survival, mutual care, all of those ways that actually the most marginalized put into practice to survive. And we can learn from that and build from there. And those were just some of my thoughts about, this idea between, radical being reformist or or revolutionary in just abolishing the entire system. There is going to be a process by which we peel off what cannot serve us from this current moment, but that we do have to take into account, the survival of people now.
Thank you so much. So we're just recognizing the time, and we're coming close to the end here. I lost track as well because I was so interested in these amazing answers and this discussion. And so I just want to say very quickly, thank you so much to all of our panelists today. Thank you so much to all of you who've joined us in the audience. We have some amazing audience members today. Students, faculty, and many OGs from the movement as well tuned in today. We're psyched to see you all, hear from you all. And I'm just going to turn it over to Halima to close for this evening's event.
Thank you to all our panelists. This was a wonderful discussion and talk. Please join us this Thursday, February 11th, for the 2021 Human Rights Keynote Lecture from the one and only Dr. Angela Davis herself, where she will speak to the relevance of these theoretical traditions in addressing the human rights struggles of our day. If you'd like to see more free programming like this month's series, or if you would like to support the impactful work of our faculty and students, please consider making a donation to the SJSU HRI today. It's support from people like you that give us the resources and independence to take on such critical social problems and accompany our community partners in struggle. Once again, let me quickly thank our generous campus co-sponsors for supporting this year's series: the Mosaic Cross-Cultural Center, the Cesar Chavez Community Action Center, the Ethnic Studies Collaborative, the College of Social Sciences, the Departments of African American Studies, Sociology, Justice Studies, Political Science, Journalism and Mass Communications, and History, and community co-sponsors, Silicon Valley Debug. Thank you all, and have a great night.